from Checklist Legal here, and today I'm excited to take you through a little bit of a mind map of how I build bots or automation tools or basically any kind of thing that's a bit of a service or a bit of a process for users to go through. So let's get stuck into it. I use a platform called Coggle, but you don't have to use that one. It's just the one that I've used for years and years and years. And it's basically a mind mapping tool. You can see here I'm in present mode, but it basically is the same thing when it is in create mode, that you can if I turn that off, you can take a mind map, create it, and really flexibly add to it. I like to be able to change the colors so that way I can see some of the different things within the different parts of the mind map. And even more importantly, you can actually take bits that you thought you wanted at the front and you can move them somewhere else entirely, which is really useful. It kind of gets a bit clunky if you're kind of scrubbing out on a whiteboard and then you have to redo the whole kind of mind map or moving post-its around. I find it quite useful to just build electronically. So let me take you through the mind map. One of the key things to remember when you're building any kind of automation with variables that you're wanting to use again down the track, for example, if you want to use your user's name and kind of refer to them as, hey, Verity, you need to ask them to input their name early on. And for this example, what I'm wanting to do is talk with people and guide them through changes to the unfair contract terms laws. Now, some people might already know that the new laws apply, and so they just want to check a bit of an individual term. But then other people might not know whether or not the updated laws apply to their contract or to their particular situation. So I wanted to give an option for people to do both. So here you can see the question that I've asked. Would you like to find out more about whether or not the updated laws apply to your particular contract? And they can from there say yes, or they can say no, I already know they apply, and then they skip ahead to just checking the term. So from there, what I discovered though when I was actually building this is if I split it off that way, then some of those variables that I might want are then only on one side of the chain, so that, or tree or branch, so that if I want to know if it's a consumer or a business agreement, for example, I now don't know that on this side of the tree. So in the actual, and I only discovered that when I got into the building, because I was kind of thinking from here. So mapping it out first isn't foolproof. Some people say it's double handling because they like to just build within the app. I think it's really good to do both, because otherwise you're stuck with all of your cleverness just in the app. And I feel like anything can happen in someone else's app. I mean, I know whether or not it can all get deleted or however it ends up going. But I always think it saves time if you map it out on something that's a little bit less low, a bit more low tech, so that way you've got a bit more control over it. That's why I love doing these mind maps first. So in the actual app, and perhaps I'll show you in another video what it looks like in the actual app, but for now, this is how I've mapped it out. So I've got basically the text that I'm going to use. I'm asking questions. I can see the branching. You can see where I've used different colors so that it's really clear for me, okay, they're separate branches, because if everything's the same color, you can get lost in what you're doing, especially when you start having things like this one, where you've got one branch over this side kind of reconnecting with another branch over there. So in this instance, what I've got here, okay, there's a consumer branch. Yes, if your clients are consumers, the unfair contract terms are going to apply. If it's businesses, then there's a few more little bits and pieces that we need to think about. So that's the approach that I've taken. And then you can see where over here they kind of all join up and then come back down here, so we go through the different terms that we're checking. So that's kind of how I've mapped out the app overall. Would be really excited to understand how you map out, or if you don't map out, maybe you just prefer to do it in the apps. Let me know, how do you plan for your automation or your legal tech apps? Bye for now.